A few weeks ago, I theory crafted that Rocks and Emu had a showdown on God Valley, and that is why Rocks died. Now since then, I've noticed that this exact thought pattern has spread throughout the community. So in this video, I want to expand upon that and truly go over what happened on God Valley as a chapter prediction for next week. So strap in, because I'm about to get real in depth with this video. But before I do get into the video, if you guys do enjoy content like this, you know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe, as I do post content like this regularly, and to be honest, it's a win-win. You guys show me love and support, and I give back to you in the form of videos, whether it's One Piece, other anime, or just fiction in general. In due time I plan on covering it, so be there when I go there. But I feel like I've rambled on long enough, so I'll jump straight into the video and really get into what happened on God Valley. Now over a week ago, I made a video, and then I dropped a very long video / podcast with Restless Gambler, going over what may have happened in God Valley and just reviewing that last chapter. Now, in today's video, I'm going to expand upon it and also take other theories and really break down what's about to happen next chapter, as I do believe that next chapter and chapter after may be two of the best chapters we'll ever see. So where do we begin? Well, as we already know, everybody's making their way onto the island, and Rocks and Roger are already fighting, and Garp has entered. And already, what I said before is currently happening. What's happening is Roger and Rocks are fighting, and Garp has just entered, which means this is going to make it a very messy 1v1v1. Now, where it then turns into Garp and Roger versus Rocks may come a tiny bit later, when they both realize that, well, to be honest, Rocks technically is meant to be the badder guy out of the two of us, and it already seems like, even though they are very good rivals, Garp and Roger are close. Like, let's be real. So next chapter, I think it's going to continue on from those two fighting. Now, I also do think in the next chapter we are going to see Dragon, and I actually want to dedicate a portion of this video to Dragon to then see where his story is going to head after this, as I do believe the flashback may actually cover some of what Dragon does, or at least detail it within a narration box. Now, it's very clear, as Rocks, Roger and Garp all vying each other, this then leaves the rest of the Holy Knights and everybody else on the Rocks Pirates, and even the Roger Pirates, to get to boxing. Now, that entire chapter showed us why the Holy Knights are despicable, and so by that we know that certain people were going to react a certain way when things start happening. And by that I mean the Roger Pirates, and definitely some of the Rocks Pirates, definitely Whitebeard, are gonna feel a certain way. Now, I think after next chapter focuses on those three fighting, and it either being very messy, Rocks trying to say something and those two just turning to shut up, I think is then going to transition into whatever the Holy Knights are doing, what the Holy Knights are fighting and whatnot. And as the Holy Knights were stopped to obviously deal with all the threats on the island, they're then going to run into people individually. Now, this means that we don't actually have a concrete way of finding out who fights who, but we do know that there is a bunch of other Holy Knights here because of last chapter, so we can only guess who's gonna fight who. Now, there is one confirmed fight, and there is no way of slicing it. There is one confirmed fight, and that is Gaban versus Summers. So it's clear that Summers, who is ranked very highly in terms of who the Holy Knights deem as one of the stronger ones, is there, and he fights Gaban. So we know that's out of the way. That also then means that Rayleigh could possibly fight Garling, or it could be somebody else, maybe Whitebeard, maybe Shiki, maybe one of those ones. But I will say that it is very clear that Big Mom also doesn't fight there, because Big Mom was seen tackling Kuma, and for some reason in the exact same vicinity as Saturn. Also, Saturn is very important here. Saturn doesn't seem to fight on God Valley, so this means that he was just roaming around trying to find Kuma, I guess. Saturn's inclusion here is kind of weird because he sees a Yonko, well, not a Yonko, but somebody a part of one of the most infamous and crews that you want gone, and he doesn't do anything about it. Big Mom is quite literally in his vicinity. Like, if Big Mom or him turned around, they would have saw each other. But he doesn't do anything. He goes for the bucket over here. I never really get this panel. Like, I feel like Saturn, like, if you see somebody like that, you should just annihilate them on the spot. Especially since they're trying to get a devil fruit as well. Like, what do you need the devil fruit for? You've already got one devil fruit, so clearly you're going to do something with it. And it was technically the Celestials to win, but yeah, we know that does happen here. And so that takes Big Mom and Saturn out of the massive fire equation. So it just leaves the rest of the Rock Pirates and the rest of the Roger Pirates and the rest of the Holy Knights. And I think even though this chapter is going to be very hype, I think it's going to be more of a setup chapter. If any fights are going to end here, it'll probably be Gaban versus Summers, but that's about it. I think this is just a setup chapter for the main fights that's then going to happen the chapter after. I know people don't want to hear that, but I think that is what happens. It's a setup chapter to see what happens next. Now, what I do think is that Gunko isn't with the Holy Knights at that point. I think what happens is Gunko moves away, and I think at a certain point is then commanded by Emu to then go and fight Rocks, Roger, and Garp. Now, Garp being there, I don't think Emu actually cares. Garp is a D. Emu doesn't care for the D. Like, Emu will get rid of a D, but Roger and especially Rocks, because their main target is Rocks. So Gunko is going to go over there for Rocks, and that is where I do believe we're going to be revealed and shown that Gunko was the one that killed Rocks. I think Gunko killed Rocks. And I don't think it was Gunko herself, obviously not. I think it was Emu controlling Gunko. And I think a lot of people have already theorized that. I want to sit here and say I said it first, but obviously it is a common thought, and it's the only logical thinking pattern behind it, because we're seeing Gunko in Elbath and they are there at God Valley. There is no reason for them to not obviously show their power, and so we can get a little taste of it when we get back to Elbath. So what's going to happen is they're gonna go over there and they're gonna like be like, okay, it's time for Mu to really bring you down. You said you're gonna come back to the Holy Land, then come. If you can beat me here, then you can come. And we already know that Blackbeard's existence and Rocks having a family's existence was there. We do know that it's there. So what is going to happen is Mu is going to be like, listen, I know you got a family here, so what? Like, and I think Rocks could actually fight Emu, but I think the issue is that they were threatening his family. And what I do believe, I know Roger's been getting flack, I think Roger saves him, or I think at least Whitebeard saves Blackbeard or something. I think one of them saves him. And what I think is Dragon is going to be running. He's going to see all of this craziness. Now, I think Dragon, the reason Dragon is so fearful of the Holy Knights is because he saw Gunkmu. That is what I believe. And I'm going to get, as I said, I'm going to dedicate a portion of this video to Dragon, but Dragon is probably going to see all of this. And he's going to be like, what am I looking at? And he's going to probably see, I think he's going to see Roger trying to like help. I think Roger is going to stop fighting. I think they're going to go and help Blackbeard, or well, Teach and Rocks and whatnot with his family. And I do believe that Rocks is actually going to find his family, and Gunkmu or Gunkmu found them, and they're like, listen, it's either me, yourself, or your family. And I believe that the mother's dead. The mother has to die. I mean, no mother survives a backstory. Come on. So I think Dragon may see this and be like, that is why Roger, because he may see Roger do something selfless here, and that's why I think he's going to be like, I think Roger is the one that should have Shanks. And that's why he tries to give, well, not try, but he does, he successfully gives him Shanks. He puts him in a chest. I think next chapter and the chapter after, they're going to be some of the most revealing chapters in the series. They have to be. But I think it's going to be shocking to a lot of us. I think Roger's going to get some of that slander he caught. I think he's going to get, it's going to be revoked. I can feel it. I know. Roger is going to see all of this and he's not going to stand for it. Come on, let's be real. But then at the exact same time, I think when he then reads the One Piece, he's then like, oh, okay, right, so what I was doing there. And then I think like everything to him probably tie and you'll start laughing. But I think it's gonna, like, next chapter's gonna be a big thing. But what I do need to get into is Dragon, and how Dragon is very, very, very integral to this. Dragon is carrying Shanks and Shamrock. I do believe that there is a possibility that he runs into Garling. Why? Because Shamrock isn't there, and I don't, unless he gets caught up in a fight and has to drop one of them, or doesn't have to, but he drops one of them by accident, because I don't think he would let go. I think it's more of a thing where he just drops one of them by accident. I think that maybe he may run into somebody that's fighting Garling, and it's gonna be messy. And I think one thing that people do need to understand about God Valley is that it's messy. It's going to be very messy. There isn't going to be any like choreographed stuff. No, it is very, very, very messy. Another thing I did think of is, even though you wouldn't know that they're Celestial Dragons kids, it could always be kind of fascinating if one of the Rocks pirates ran up on Dragon and tried to steal one. Possibly because, you know, they're like, you never know, possibly because they could sell them. That's like one of the first times I've thought of that, but that is a possibility. But I don't think that's actually going to happen. Why? Because they don't know that they're actually Celestial Dragons kids. But if they did and it was announced, then I would put that in, but I don't think so. So what I believe is they're probably going to see Dragon running away with a kid, and I think one of the Holy Knights is probably going to try and intercept him. Now, at the exact same time, I also do believe that Dragon may see Gunkmu, and that is why he's fearful. Not fearful, but he's more of a thing where it's like when the Holy Knights get activated, that's when it's serious. And I think another reason why he thinks that is because of God Valley itself. Now, in God Valley, they sent the Marines there, and he was a Marine, so he understood, but he also heard that the Marines shouldn't be here. It's just the Holy Knights, and the Holy Knights can protect us. Now, he's gonna obviously know that his father is there, but let's be for real. His father is one of one. There are only a few people that can match a prime god. So that's why he's like, okay, they would rather send for the Holy Knights instead of like saying we're gonna get Garp, or we're gonna get Kong, we're gonna get somebody important from the Marines on the case. And I think he's then gonna see and witness what their power is on God Valley. That is why he said to Sabo that, yo, when they get activated, it's serious, because he's only seen them get activated for people like Roger, Rocks, and other just big people like that. That's the only time he's seen it, so that's why he thinks that. Now, another thing with Dragon, I think what Dragon is going to do is, after this, he's going to drop out of the Marines. He's done. This is all of it, like the chapters here. I think what Oda is doing here is so good and so beautiful, because I do believe that after this, we're probably going to get a narration box where Dragon is growing up. I think he's going to leave. I think he's going to leave, and he's going to start up his own thing. He's going to leave and start up his own thing. And as we can see throughout this, and one thing that I have been pointing out, you can see how much of a pacifist Dragon is. He only shot the Celestial Dragon because he was about to kill somebody. He said, "Nah, you gotta stay down." So, I think God Valley turned Dragon from a pacifist into somebody that will actually do something. I think that's the difference, because Dragon being a pacifist is very, very overlooked. A lot of people in the community don't actually say anything about him being a pacifist, when I think that's one of his key character traits. Luffy isn't a pacifist, Garp ain't a pacifist, but he is. So it's clear that's one of his main character traits, and I think that's what makes him so scary. The fact that you turn a pacifist into somebody that wants to actually do something, that's insane. And I also think that he probably got the world's worst criminal title after they found out that maybe he stole Shanks from Garling. And I truly do believe that we're gonna see stuff with Dragon. I think the God Valley flashback will give us, because Oda doesn't like dropping them fully unless it's their own one. So I think Dragon will get a proper fleshed out flashback, but I think this is the beginning. I truly do believe that this is the beginning, and he's not running to somebody in God Valley. I just know it. I just know that because he has his own little plot line that's going to tie back into the bigger picture. It already is tying back into the bigger picture because he's taking Shanks and Shamrock. So yeah, I think Dragon's going to have something big here. And if Dragon has something big here, that can then lead into him getting his devil fruit. I think what everybody wants to see from this flashback with Dragon is him getting his devil fruit, because it's clear he doesn't have it yet. If he had his devil fruit, he'd have been using his devil fruit to lift up Shanks and Shamrock, but he hasn't done that yet, so it's clear that he doesn't have a devil fruit, and that is why I still do believe that the devil fruit is on the island. Now, with other people on the island, we have Captain John. Remember, his treasure is very, very famous, so I think Captain John steals something of importance, and is serious importance, to the point where everybody knows about it. I want to know what he stole from God Valley. It has to be something insane, to the point where he obviously has a tail by him as well. We have to know that. We're gonna see that. That's what I'm saying. I think people with these chapters are focusing a little bit too much on Garp, Rocks, and Roger, instead of looking at the bigger picture of everything. There's so many different things that's gonna be revealed in these chapters. And I'm saying the next 2 chapters are going to be insane. I even think there may be 3 because of how much information there is. Like, these chapters are going to be insane, man. Like, they really are going to be insane. So, if I were you, I'd get to theory crafting. You never know. You could see another character you didn't think you'd see on God Valley that may appear. As long as they're in the age range, they're going to be there. We also may see Kaido get beat within an inch of his life. There are so many different things. Because Kaido's been asking for this devil fruit over and over and over again. That's a main thing. It started off with Whitebeard. Then he started to ask Big Mom, like, yo, you gonna hook me up with a devil fruit or something? And Big Mom's like, yeah, no, it's fine. You can find something here. Well, she's there for her children. And you know what? I think this flashback is also great at showing all the connection. Obviously, but the one connection that I've been loving secretly is Kaido and Big Mom. I love that big sister and little brother dynamic. And the thing is that it's so crazy to me, because as a mother, Big Mom isn't a good person, but I feel like as a comrade, Big Mom is actually like a ride or die for you, and that is insane. I just wouldn't think that, but yeah, no, I feel like Big Mom takes a very role to Kaido, because I feel like she can tell that he's naive, and she just wants him to be aware and know what's going on. But yeah, that is the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, as I did enjoy making it. And yeah, my eyes are gone, but that's besides the point. Alright, I love you all. I shall see you guys in the next video. Thank you for the support, and good bye.